So, since our government is being run like Twitter and Twitter is not doing well, let's use this as an opportunity to talk about psychological safety. And no matter what Elon Musk says, it's not whiny baby stuff. It actually takes a lot of integrity and is critical for business. I'm Dr. Anna Schmidt. I'm an industrial organizational psychologist, and I research the unwritten rules of work for people who are neurodivergent and who are from working class backgrounds. To do this, I'm going to show you a part of my book that I'm not sure if I'm keeping, but here's a sneak peek. And if you want to get on the list for my book, you can find that on my website or link to my bio on most of my social media sites. So, for each main chapter in the book, I talk about one unwritten rule of work. I talk about the research from my studies, talk about other people's research and how it ties in, and I give a case study example of a good example of either applying or not applying this rule, and a bad example, as in it had a negative outcome with a real life business. Because I'm a scientist practitioner, like I'm not in the ivory tower. Most of my career has been working in the federal or private sector. I have had some academic experience. I still teach some on the side, but I've also done of like the hiring and managing and training people in universities. I'm coming at this from multiple angles here. And in my chapter on the unwritten rule of work of compliance, which is not speaking your mind, not actually answering questions when people ask them of you, not bringing up issues, etc. It's basically the opposite of psychological safety. Psychological safety is when you know that you can voice new opinions, voice concerns, come up with new ideas without being punished for them. In my research, people from working class backgrounds, people who are neurodivergent, and people of color all felt like as they have moved up in their work environment, they have been expected to be more compliant. And so I give an example of a company that does not have psychological safety notoriously, and there have been a lot of unalivings because of it. That part I know I'm keeping in the book. But then I have this other part that I'm not so sure about, but y'all let me know what you think. I wrote, consequences can come for not life or death situations as well. While Elon Musk has alluded to killing people in his own tweets, we only know of one thing he has truly been accused of killing: Twitter. When Elon purchased Twitter for $44 billion, he gave employees until 5 p.m. to decide if they wanted to quit or stay and work at high intensity, which was reported to mean working so long that they were encouraged to sleep at the office. All of this has citations, but I'm not going to read them all to you right now. Musk has become infamous for using oppressive leadership tactics, which are the opposite of what most experts recommend. He is known for leading some of the most toxic workplaces. Elon has made very public mistakes since taking over Twitter, including advertisers fleeing the site as more controversial content became permitted. However, the one I want to discuss here is his commitment to compliance, the unwritten rule. When Elon took the helm at Twitter, he laid off those who disagreed with him, the employees who were not voiceless. According to Musk's own biographer, when Elon visited Twitter headquarters for the first time, he was disgusted by the yoga rooms, coffee bars, and the emphasis on psychological safety. Apparently, when asked about psychological safety, he is reported to have laughed. When Elon laid off 80% of the Twitter staff, he didn't claim it was only for employees who dared to speak up. Rather, he said he did so because many of the employees were not providing value. I do not suggest that all 80% were non compliant dissenting workers. They weren't all ignoring that unwritten rule. I have no way of knowing that. What I do know is that Twitter has dropped from 70% of its value from its purchase price of $44 billion since he took it over, losing his shareholders billions. We also know that there were longtime Twitter employees from when Twitter was successful who spoke up and were shown the door. There is no denying that Elon Musk is successful. He is the wealthiest person in the world to date and has recently been gaining political clout after obtaining billions in taxpayer dollars to fund the enterprises that have made him so wealthy. But let's be realistic. Most of us don't have the generational wealth he comes from or own enough other businesses to back up such risky ventures. Most of us can't afford to lose billions for ourselves and others. We don't have it to begin with. Just last week, I swear at some point this book is going to write itself, I wish, Musk caused a rift in the now President elect Trump's famously devoted MAGA. After supporting a candidate with strong anti immigration policies, even while being an immigrant himself, Musk has come out in support of H 1B visas. This pissed off what I would call the working class MAGA, whose fear of immigrants is rooted in the fear of losing jobs to him. They didn't want H 1B workers, they want jobs. I am no immigration expert, so I will not comment on the visas. However, Elon's tweet explaining himself told us that he has yet to learn his lesson on psychological safety. He tweeted The number of people who are super talented engineers and super motivated in the USA is far too low. Think of this like a pro sports team. If you want your team to win the championship, you need to recruit top talent wherever they may be. That enables the whole team to win. Emphasizing because it was all caps. Close quote. Both research and other successful organizations have found this statement to not be true. Again, no shade to H-1B workers. A group of rock stars does not inherently work well together. The best teams have psychological safety. A review of psychological safety research found that psychological safety is strongly related to improved innovation and knowledge creation in teams, from research and development to manufacturing. Teams with a group of experts but low psychological safety do not inherently perform well. They perform worse than teams with high psychological safety. And then I shift into talking about a company who does this really well, and that comes out of Google's Project Aristotle, which found that the best performing teams do not have the highest performers. They have the most psychological safety.